Okay, what I actually figured is I can actually make a pusher bolt for the bottom of this bracket that'll drop in here, and I can adjust it to push the motor forward. What I'll do is I can just get in there. Let's see if I can get the camera. It's probably upside down now. Just get in there to push against the motor. I can zoom back out. And basically adjust that. I can just get in there with a wrench and everything to adjust that once the motor's all installed. So what I'll do is I'll set this up to push on the back of the motor, and then I'll also weld this rounded washer on this direction and smooth the back out so that it has rounded edges, but that'll give it a little more surface area to push on the back of the motor. And that should be pretty good. That doesn't work. What I'll do is then I'll tap 2 holes in the... Another option would be to tap 2 holes in the jack shaft housing and push it forward, but I think this off the bracket's going to work fine. It's just got to keep enough tension on there so that when you jam on the throttle really hard or you land a jump wide open, things are going to try and flex around. We don't want the chain getting super loose and jumping a tooth or something stupid like that. With the top brackets on there, it's all going to be a lot more rigid and everything, but I got to do my diligence to make sure it's as strong as possible. This bike's going to be pretty insane, so I definitely want to make sure everything's as safe as it possibly can be. So just as a demonstration, I quickly put the bolt in there. Let's see if I can get my camera in there without what did I say? Without. There we go. So you can kind of see the bolts pushing on the back of the motor. I don't have the washer that I want to weld on there yet, but I tighten these nuts. I got a nut on each side. You can kind of see the nut here on the front of this bracket. And basically I tightened it up, pushing the motor forward, and took a bunch of slack out of the motor. That's about where I'd run the chain. You don't want it like singing tight. You want a little bit of movement. But I think that'll work. So I'm going to go weld the washer on the head of the bolt. I would like to leave the back open, so I can just pop the bolt out of there, and if I want to run something different pushing this bracket, it would work. Also, I wanted to test it before I put the top brackets on this mount, because this is also what supports the battery, but that proves to me that that's all going to be rigid enough, and then once I add these other mounts back on, it's going to be even more rigid because it's going to support from the front of the frame back to this jack shaft housing as well. So I think we're in good shape. Alright, I think I have it working pretty good here. Basically, I just added this rounded washer to the end of my bolt. All I got to do is adjust this nut to push the motor forward, and then basically I lock it with this nut. I put some anti-seal on the bolt, and should be good to go. I'm going to finish up my top brackets, get them done today, and then I should be able to put the battery back in and start wiring it. Alright, got my upper brackets on, everything's kind of ready. Just got all my 4 motor mount bolts loose, so I'm going to tighten my chain adjuster in here. Now we just tighten up this jam nut. Chain's got a wee bit of slack, kind of what I would like. So now we tighten up all our motor bolts. This little 20 volt impact is just a it's not super powerful, so I can actually go around with the torque wrench afterwards and torque all these. Let's see, I need a 13 for the other side and a couple 10s. Trying to do this with one hand isn't always as easy. Okay, let's double check it after that. Yeah, there's a wee bit there, just like I would like. Oops. That should be good. All right. You always want to spin it. Check in a couple spots. See, it's a tiny bit tighter right there. Just a smidgen. Yeah. Still got some free play though. See, there's more there, less there. I think that's gonna be good. Now I'll put the battery back in, all from this little adjuster back here. I think that'll be the ticket. That'll keep some pressure on it even if things flex around. But these top motor brackets make it a lot more stiff as well. Eventually I want to design all these in CAD and get them water jet or something. Make some new fancy brackets, but we'll get there when we get there. I think one of the next steps is making my chain guard for this side actually, so I don't get my foot in that chain when I'm trying to run the rear brake. Shouldn't be too big of a deal, should be pretty easy. Alright, now that I got that kind of sorted out, everything looks good. Got some tension I'm happy with on my chain. Made a chain tensioner back here. Slides through, pushes on the motor, if you can see it. Pretty happy with all that. Alright, it's time to drop the battery back in. And hopefully start wiring this thing this week. Now, unfortunately, I put my back out putting this battery in, pulling it out of the bike actually. But going in is a little easier. This battery pack weighs 78 pounds without the BMS, which reminds me, I don't have the BMS on right now. I should actually peel that connector off. I'll do that in a second. I'm going to drop this in place and peel the BMS connector off for now. And I'll pop the battery back out one last time to put the BMS on. I designed this so I could drop the BMS in place. I just need to make a shield for it. Gotta find my bolts for this tuning fork that I built to hold the battery down. And I'll pop some bolts back in. Can you say anti-seize? That's not anti-seize. Oh, I gotta get my extension, because gotta line those up. Yep. Are you fixing your bike, buddy? For 10 minutes? Yeah. Okay. Lame. Huh? Okay, a minute. Now Dad's got to put in the 2 bolts on the back. What'd you do? Gotta find 2 bolts that are missing. Oh. Just like that. What are you doing over there? Are you breaking my shop? No. What are you doing? Enough for now. Yeah, should be loud. Loud is fast, buddy. That's right. Isn't it? Or does it just sound fast? Hey, yeah, that's a magnet. So the last challenging thing I have to solve is how to run my DC bus from the battery back to the controller, which mounts back here, back in the back. So what I'm gonna have to do is probably this negative side might work. I might be able to just hook a wire up there and make something that's 3D printed and potted or something. This one that comes to the contactor is going to be in an awkward spot, so I'll probably have to do something different. I'm going to try and keep the contactor up front. I'm going to definitely keep the fuse up front. And then what I'm planning is probably whatever gauge of wire I'm going to use inside of aluminum tube, either run here underneath the seat around this corner. It'll be through aluminum tube till it gets back here somewhere, and then I'll just come out of the tube and be good silicon wire. Or I was tempted to maybe drill a hole through the frame up here. I really don't want to do that. It's really awkward to get my wires from my power from the battery here back to the inverter back there, but we'll figure it out soon. Stay tuned. Should be wiring it later this week.